Ok, estoy grabando. Hipotéticamente. Ok, Metal Gear. Ahora, algunos se preguntará por qué estoy en el medio de Afganistán. Bueno, es porque hice una el rank de una misión y... Oh, mira, hay niños en Afganistán. Bueno, bien, vamos a buscar el Chacal legendario. O sea, vamos a ir a buscar este. Bueno, creo que estaba cerca, pero... Quiero buscar el coso legendario.
Development project has been added.
50. Está en Angola, maldita sea. Bueno, ¿qué se hace? ¿Qué tenemos acá? Una canción que podemos escuchar.
You disappoint me. Have you forgotten my face?
Leave me be.
You won't respond to anyone else, so I figured it must be me you wanted to see. But now you won't even look at me.
Have I not suffered enough?
Not until you eased my suffering first. To tell you the truth, old man, I'm in a bit of a bind. It's about your children. You know what I mean? The parasites. The ones that infect a man's throat, killing him if he speaks their language.
They must not be allowed to multiply.
You are allowed to live only in order to help me. But you don't want to. So why not choose death instead? Because you want to protect the Diné and their land from me. That's your purpose, isn't it? Don't lose sight of that now. It's in your interest to cooperate. Because if you don't...
Madness.
The parasites can't detect your people's tongue. So I'll just have to resort to more heavy-handed means. I have the greatest respect for your people. I would rather avoid such a thing, but we don't always get our way. I was born a tiny mote in a mighty tempest, and until those winds abate, all I can choose is how to act when they blow me this way or that. Tell me, Code Talker, what happens to a man infected with a pair of your parasites? Can they be removed? Can the full-blown symptoms be prevented?
It is impossible to remove the parasites alone. They have too close an affinity with humans.
Then how do you stop the symptoms from developing? All right. I was hoping for an answer now, but perhaps you just need a little more time. I'll be back soon. I've set up shop, not far from here. We'll be seeing a lot more of each other.
If you're close by, then it is almost
We're in the final phases. All that's left is to see if I can actually disable a nuke, with the help of your metallic archaea. Once that's done, I won't have to return here again. And your suffering will end. As will your people's. We're almost finished, Code Talker. Each in our own way.
my only regret will be not finishing you.
There's nothing stopping you. I'm only alive because you want me that way.
Ridiculous.
As you wish. My regret is this misunderstanding between us. You and I, our goal is the same. We should be working together.
That's the target. You do not know my mind. I simply want the Diné bloodline to endure.
Really now? You're just another mote in the storm. How you react to all the slings and arrows, that's what counts. That's why you call those squirming monsters your children.
What I have done is forbidden. Forgive me, all of you.
The world should be left the way it is. You of all men should know that. Forgive me, but my schedule has changed. The time for grace and good manners has now run out.
Please. Torture will not work on me. Surely you know this.
Oh, I have no intention of getting rough with you. You haven't been beaten. Your hands aren't even tied.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Countless parasites. What wounds I might inflict, they'll patch right up. You might feel considerable pain, but I've no doubt you can withstand it.
Then what do you plan on doing?
I have a soldier standing outside. Nothing special about him, except that he
10 minutos.
always obeys. I have given him one instruction. Whenever I ring this bell, he passes on a message for me. That message is simply, go.
What is this?
After that, though, it gets complicated. The message will arrive at a room, a little bigger than this one. Nothing special. Some of your people are in this room, surrounded by my men. The message will indicate it.
What is?
Go.
What is this?
Vamos a ir a casi puedo usar eso, ¿no?
Sun will rise momentarily.
Vamos a ver locos. Este es
After that, though, it gets complicated. The message will arrive at a room, a little bigger than this one. Nothing special. Some of your people are in this room, surrounded by my men.
Enough of this.
They pick them at random.
¿Por qué no sé ver este coso de porquería?
No regard for age, gender. In that, I suppose, they're different from you. Not as discriminating. They tied them up, one by one, blindfolded them. We had to maintain order, you understand?
You bastard.
Go. When they hear that, my men will pick one of your people and infect them with a parasite. Your parasite.
It won't work on my people.
True. The vocal cord parasite doesn't respond to your language. But what about English?
An English strain. It exists.
A ring of this bell, and they infect one person. If that person abandons the Navajo language, the English strain will trigger symptoms.
You monster.
So, it's quite simple. Every time I ring the bell, another of your people is infected.
Don't do this.
I don't want to do this. I'd rather not have to ring the bell, which is why I'm hoping you will talk to me.
What do you want
You know the answer to that. How to prevent the symptoms caused by the parasite.
You cannot control it like some slave. Forget the idea.
Forget it. Unlikely.
I will never tell you. What have you done,
You made me do that.
you black-hearted?
Settle down.
Don't use it again.
Well, that is up to you. All you need to do is tell me what I want. How to prevent the vocal cord parasite symptoms.
Why? Why do you need to know?
The adult soldiers at Walayamasa are all dead.
What?
The parasite traveled downstream. It would appear that he was involved. Another demon woke up from 9 years of slumber. As a result, the vocal cord parasite spread through the village.
I told you this would happen.
It was an unfortunate accident. He is becoming an annoyance. He may stumble upon the truth sooner or later, but I suppose that is really of no consequence. One day, he too will pay for what he has done.
Black Anna. The real demon is you.
You know, this incident made me realize something. You are right. I should have acted with more humility. These creatures cannot be controlled. All the more reason I require a means to stop them.
There is no such way. Wait. Don't ring it again.
It is up to you. Out with it.
I see now.
Ah,
There must be more to it than that.
What?
They are in you. You use this land to breed more of my children. And not just here. No. In pursuit of your ethnic cleansers. You sifted through many language strains. Finding hosts. Breeding more and more. You would have been infected in the process. Infected with countless strains. Most likely your mother tongues as well. Romania, northern Transylvania. You found that one too. Yes, the Hungarian strain that responds to the CK's dialect.
Silence!
Black Anna. It is you who shall pay.
Boss, you need to find those kids who escaped. Fighting's still the only way of life they know. If we don't bring them back, they'll just end up getting killed.
Is this your retaliation, old man?
Let my people go and never bother them again. You heard me. What now? What? No! What are you doing?
I am not afraid. I probably have every language strain inside of me. Meaning all the world's languages are already lost to me. But that suits me fine. If need be, I myself can produce whatever strain is needed.
And that means nothing to you. If you are infected, you can never again speak your mother tongue. Otherwise you will die. As will every one of your countrymen.
A few words here and there won't trigger the symptoms. And besides, the time is not yet right to show this face in my homeland. Not until my revenge is complete. Now,
Stop!
we're out of time. I have to get going. Well,
No! It's radiation.
Radiation? Of course. So it can be used.
But how much? I do not know.
Radiation denatures their reproductive cells, preventing them from mating.
Same principle as the sterilization technique. The reproductive cells are more sensitive to radiation than the rest of the body. But I have not tested it. There is no telling what mutation could result, or how the host may be affected. Not to mention what could happen if this is done post-infection.
I don't care. This plan goes into action now. As long as it works, the details can wait. You wouldn't be lying to me, of course, old man.
I can guarantee nothing.
I owe you my life. My body has been burned on countless occasions, but it survives, thanks to your children. That is why I trust you.
Then do not repeat my mistake.
What's that?
In the West, it is said that the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. In the East, it is said the man of flesh brings spiritual power to rulers. The people knew back then that these creatures carry the gospel. They do not belong in our hands. They must not be touched.
How enlightening. I'll remember that. Consider this my thanks.
What are you, catch? No!
Ja, maldito que se golfes.
Well then, I'm afraid it really is goodbye this time, Code Talker.
¿Dónde?
There is no soldier.
Huh. Now where did he run off to? Guess he wasn't.
There never was any soldier.
So long.
How dare you!
Dame su última parte, voy a escucharla después de que se termine. Me molesta.
Whole lot of trouble they put us through. Making me worry like that.
Будьте максимально осторожны. Конец
arrived at Metabase.
Комплекта, Дмитрий 6. Потерял визуальный контакт. Перемещаюсь к последней известной позиции. Прием! Это КП, понял. Будьте очень внимательны. Реагируйте на каждое движение. Конец связи.
Marker placed.
Boss, we found weapons in the children's section of the living quarters. As you know, weapons are strictly off limits. We've got some rule breakers. The weapons we found were handmade. Blades ground out of knives and forks, a couple of bow guns built out of scrap, and explosives made using detergents. And get this, the explosives were tightly packed with nails. The kids put the blame on, you guessed it, Eli. I guess that's what he meant.
Штаб, это КП. Возразился огонь.
Those were tight. Boss, we found weapons in the children's section of the living quarters. As you know, weapons are strictly off limits. We've got some rule breakers. The weapons we found were handmade. Blades ground out of knives and forks, a couple of bow guns built out of scrap, and explosives made using detergents. And get this, the explosives were tightly packed with nails. The kids put the blame on, you guessed it, Eli. I guess that's what he meant by consequences.
I questioned him about it. But this time he claimed they want to be put out on missions. Send us to the battlefield, he says.
Miller, enough is enough. You've protected him too much already. It's my turn to question him.
Protected.
What Eli's doing is issuing a threat. Comply with my demands or I'll respond with force. But it'll be war at this rate. Forks and soap aren't gonna kill us, but some of them will end up dead. Is that what you want? Now, I hate to say it, but they want to be on the battlefield. It's time you gave up this fantasy.
Eli, he said they'd rise up against us if we bring the last kid back.
There, you see? Ignore his demands. Don't let him return to quarters. That attitude is contagious. We lose control over them for good.
For the time being, we've confiscated those handmade weapons. We're building them security in a number of psychiatric counselors. As for Eli,
He needs some very special care.
you mean solitary?
Well, we can't leave him in contact with the other kids. If
Oh,
you
shit,
won't do
wait.
it, I will. Boss, keep working on extracting those kids.
Ok, no nos falta tanto. Falta contar.
I have no doubt Skullface's plan is almost complete. At that point, I will no longer be of use to him. I must leave behind this record at least. A record of how ancient vocal cord parasites became these abominable ethnic cleansing parasites. I believe he has two purposes for the ethnic cleansing parasites. The first, as their name suggests, is ethnic cleansing. This conflict between East and West that develops the world will not last much longer. Once the Cold War ends, this conflict between East and West that develops the world will not last much longer. Once the Cold War ends, and the weight of America and the Soviet Union is lifted away, the ethnic conflict that kept suppressed will all rise to the surface. It is not difficult to imagine that the radical side will begin cleansing their adversaries. But what if an ethnic cleansing parasite matching the language of the aggressors were to be unleashed? The aggressors would be wild, furious. At the very least, the idea that retaliation could eradicate your people would prove a powerful deterrent. The second purpose is the Englishization of the world. To cipher the organization, this is probably their main use. Man thinks in words,
means
beautiful in Navajo, but the image that comes to mind when we say Neshone differs.
Sun will set shortly.
And the shore skies, the rolling landscape, lush greenery, the meaning we place in Neshone has its roots in Diné culture. If we use the word Neshone, the images of our beautiful homeland will be washed away into oblivion along with it, just as Orwell indicated years ago. Cipher, being based in America, is pushing Englishization for this very reason. Suppose all 5 billion people on this planet concentrate, speak, and think in English. Their wills could also be streamlined under English. Cipher's control would be all the easier. Economic governance would progress in leaps and bounds. The ethnic cleansing of parasites would be a great aid in accomplishing this goal. There is no need to destroy every language besides English. All they need to do is weaken other dominant languages competing with it. Russian, Chinese, Arabic. If people know they risk their lives speaking such languages, they will flock to the lingua franca that is English. Cipher need not even focus attention on the
Enemy
other
presence
languages.
detected. The map has been updated.
They are already being eaten away by English. Business, education, film, commodities. English has permeated every area of global society. I can see this when I look at young Diné. Some of them have already lost their grasp of the Navajo language. It is said that over 2,000 languages of the world are facing extinction. This very moment, cultural concepts and forms of expression are disappearing
Analysis
forever.
complete.
The spread of electronic gives greater meaning to Englishization. Networks have no national borders.
Analysis
By basing
complete.
them on a single language, they can penetrate
Enemy
deeper
presence
into
detected.
and
The
between
map
people.
has been updated.
That basic point of unity provides ideal environment for someone who aims to control people's lives. But how does this differ from building the Tower of Babel?
He's coming too. Roger that.
Attempt to rob man of his words.
Analysis complete.
Such irony. It was the vocal cord parasite that gave words to him in the first place. Ancient man had no language, unable to produce complex sounds due to the structure of the throat. He could communicate only through simple vocalizations and gestures.
Enemy presence
The vocal
detected.
cord
The map
parasite
has been
infected his
updated.
larynx. Man's transition to walking upright did not gift him solely with intelligence, but also with his voice. At the time, the vocal cord parasites never harmed man. They merely took a small measure of nourishment. In fact, you could call it a symbiotic relationship. Some animal species use particular vocalization patterns to attract the female and reproduce. Songbirds, certain insects, and also the vocal cord parasite. The difference is that the parasites themselves did not produce sound.
Extraction arrived at
Rather,
mother
they
base.
had their own
escaped kids should be around here. Locate and secure them.
Marker removed.
Vocalization rhythms and intonations became more sophisticated, and in order for man to produce such sounds, they had to alter his vocal organs by lowering the position of the larynx and developing resonating chambers. They enabled more complex pronunciations, but that was not all. The vocal cord parasites activated a transcription factor that would later control man's language ability.
Espera que termine
The
la
protein that, due to its appearance, is called Orchid box protein P2, or FOXP2. Activating this transcription factor led to the development of brain function capable of creating sophisticated frequency changes. This was the pinnacle of the vocal cord parasite's prosperity. However, this sophisticated pronunciation control was too useful for man to ignore. Once human sexual activity ceased to be only seasonal, and having lost pigment-based sexual characteristics, distinctive vocalizations became the most effective means for humans to attract mates as well. Combined with logic pathways hardwired into the brain, or universal grammar, it was not long before advanced communication was possible. This was the birth of language. Luckily for man, it was around this time that a particular retrovirus was circulating. While not lethal, it infected not only man, but the vocal cord parasites as well. It is presumed that this virus removed part of the parasite's DNA and reverse transcribed it into man's reproductive cells. It was a factor. Among the genes it transcribed.
Espera que tengo un spammer. Mickey 8274. Ese es un spammer. Se nota más. ¿Dónde estás? A ver, Mickey, te voy a baneado. Baneado, no me acuerdo cómo era eso. Tuki. Vos te vas. Es el equipo de Metal Gear Solid 5, sí.
The ones responsible for the production of language, the vocal cord parasites' vocalization genes were written into the human genome. The parasites were no longer of any use to man now. Man could use his voice as he pleased when he pleased, hindering the parasites' courtship vocalizations. Having lost their opportunity to reproduce, the parasites died out, leaving behind only the transcribed genes. The vocal cord parasites were once in symbiosis with man. Its genes even became a part of his. Humans and parasites are extremely close. As such, it will be extremely difficult for man's immune system to eliminate the vocal cord parasites.
Puro este sonido del
Cutting them
búho.
out will be no simple matter. Which
Que
is
en donde
exactly
vivía
why
se escucha
these
bastante.
ethnic cleansing parasites are such a formidable weapon.
Ok, Genesis es el último. Qué grieta más rara. Me da la sensación de que va a aparecer líquido o algo. Está como muy isolado esto. Digamos por Genesis. No, libro de la Biblia.
Whole lot of trouble they put us through.
sale cambiar el tiempo. 33 minutos. Tengo millones tanto.
Strike requested. Strike will commence shortly. Side ops list updated.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Extraction arrived.
Yo no sabía que podía pasar eso. Ok, nos falta un niño. ¿Qué tan lejos estamos de esta misión?
Marker placed.
Sabes que no, voy a pedir un helicóptero.
Marker removed.
The kids you brought back to base have laid out the situation. They all escaped to each of their home villages, or were trying to get home, and lost their way. Not that homesickness is gonna explain everything we've seen.
Each of their home villages. They were trying to raise troops for the rebellion.
You really think these kids have an armed uprising in them?
You read the report of the security team member who had a rock thrown at him. There'll be a riot if we don't do something. And Miller, this is because you didn't act fast enough.
Fine.
Los nuevos se están
I'll
peleando.
admit you were right this time.
Seal off the kids' quarters from outside contact before it's too late.
All right.
Eli said his rebellion would start when the last kid is brought back, right? You better be ready to meet him head on if it really happens.
Yeah.
You should have left it to me in the first place.
Ahora que lo pienso, esto es la central, la base central, ¿no? No sé si tiene una caja en acá. Acá.
We have a responsibility to see that those kids make it. It's not about feeling protective or the pros and cons. I hate kids. That's exactly what I heard from the people who raised me. People who abandoned me, more like. That's the spark that kept me going, you know? I wanted to show those adults what I was made of. Wanted to get back at them one day. Before I knew it, I was all grown up. Never saw it coming. All of a sudden, people treated me as an adult. Some adult I turned out to be. But I feel like if my life had been different, if the adults I knew had been different, I could have grown up better. Yeah, that's it, all right. I wanted to use those kids to test that theory. That's all this was. From their point of view, I'm no different from the assholes who gave me a hard time. When this is all blown over, I'll talk it out with them. If that's still possible. Boss, there are still kids out there. Bring them back safe.
Boss, it's me. Eli's revealed what he wants. He wants to speak.
Roger.
With Big Boss. He just said, bring my father here. Eli's too smart for his own good. No way to tell what he's thinking. All we know for sure is his men are important to him. That means we can use the escaped kids as leverage in any negotiation. Once you've brought the last one back, I'll interrogate him. If the kids do rise up, we'll meet them full force. End of story. I didn't want things to turn out like this. We could have prevented it, but it's too late now. If Eli needs to take this all the way, he's going to force us to do the same. Boss, go get that last kid.
Está muy lejos y creo que no tengo una caja en Desmase la mano. Capaz que sí, no sé. Y bueno, este es uno que suele salir por no, yo tengo poca munición. Vamos a ir a buscar el coso ese en la frontera. Así, bueno, es más fácil frontonear gente. Ah, puedo agacharme en un camión. No sabía eso. Ok. Vamos a ir a buscar el coso ese.
Please select a landing zone heading to Central Africa.
Estoy viendo esto. Ya. Quiero cambiar la cosita. Justo voy a elegir el 3. Pero no está bien. Ah, no, acá me flojé.
Deploying.
Legendario Jackal. Queremos que me ayude. Voy a poner una cinta acá.
The rise of the vocal cord parasites goes back approximately 300 million years to the Permian period. At that time, they were not even parasites, but predatory autotrophs. They are believed to have been the common ancestor to the Pentastomida and the Cyclops genus of copepods. However, Earth's environment underwent a violent change at the end of the Permian period. The cause is unclear, but evidence suggests that over 90% of the Earth's organisms at that time died out. The most pronounced threat to the protoparasites was the severe reduction in oxygen concentration. The result was cladogenesis, a splitting that gave birth to a new strain that could parasitize other organisms' respiratory apparatus. This survival tactic helped lower their oxygen consumption, and inhabiting the throat kept them securely in contact with inhaled air. The survivors were those that parasitized the reptiles that flourished at the time. Entering the Triassic period, the reptiles evolved into dinosaurs, and the protoparasites shared in their success.
Todos son
Dinosaurs
parásitos.
developed respiratory organs called air sacs to adapt to the low oxygen environment. These in particular helped the protoparasites thrive. But another trial awaited them. The end of the Triassic period saw another drastic change in the Earth's environment. For most parasites, the male and female take the same host. Many are, in fact, hermaphrodites. Originally, the vocal cord parasites were as well. But for any strain to ride out a severe environmental change, it must secure a steady pool of genetic diversity. Another split. Now the newest strain procreated with mates found in other hosts. And in order to increase its encounters with those mates, the new strain utilized the voice of its host. They came to inhabit the host's vocal cords. This truly was the birth of the vocal cord parasite. The parasites developed the host's pharynx to form resonating chambers and used them to produce sophisticated mating calls. The relatively upright posture of the dinosaurs was important in this, because the crooked L-shaped pharynx was more suited to the...
Ok.
outpost captured. The map has been updated. The map has been updated.
Possibly. Moritunu.
The map has been updated.
Ok. ¿Sabes qué? Si es aleatorio, me voy a pegar un tiro. Noreste. 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 Entonces eso pareció tonto, ¿verdad?
That's African peach. The shape of its petals gives it the nickname the pincushion. It's used in local traditional medicine as a pain reliever and tranquilizer.
Development of relatively, they came to inhabit the host's vocal cords. This truly was the birth of the vocal cord parasite. The parasites developed the host's pharynx to form resonating chambers and used them to produce sophisticated mating calls. The relatively upright posture of the dinosaurs was important in this because the crooked L-shaped pharynx was more suited to the development of resonating chambers. These developments ushered in a time of great prosperity for the parasites. But for the third time, the parasites had a major hurdle to overcome. The meteorite impact at the end of the Cretaceous period, which spelled the end of the dinosaurs. With their hosts extinct, the vocal cord parasites had no option but to find a new habitat. Birds, as genetic successors to the dinosaurs, with functioning air sac apparatus already in place. Birds were the perfect choice. But the parasites could not survive in birds that flew at high altitudes with thinner air. So they parasitized ground-dwelling birds and altered their respiratory system for the sake of reproduction. They gave the birds the means to produce sophisticated sounds. The syrinx responsible for chirping. Proof that points to activation of FOXP2 in songbirds as well as humans. The Cenozoic era began with a rise in oxygen concentration, which
Eso no es noreste. Eso es noroeste. No, soy tonto.
helped mammals to evolve and increase in size. The parasites then shifted to humans as a more effective host. Humans' bipedal upright walking meant that our throats could support larger resonating chambers. At first, vocal cord parasites entered humans using birds as their intermediate host. But eventually they changed to conducting their entire life cycle within human hosts. What happened next is as I have already described. People took the vocalizing prowess given them by the parasites and made it language. And once the parasites could no longer use it as their mating call, they died out. Or in other words, the parasites overcame all evolution.
That's the target.
Except humanity. Skullface shared his opinion on this matter. He said the Ethnic Cleansers Project was sure to succeed. A After all, the parasites had a grudge against us humans. To think we awoke them after such a long slumber, just so they could sate their thirst for vengeance. It is terrible. Unforgivable.
No, me sale.
And yet, it is what I have done. I learned of the vocal cord parasite's existence in literature belonging to the Foundation. It was little more than a theory. The question was, why does only Homo sapiens among all primates have a highly developed language? Human versus everything else. The missing link between these was the mystery that gave rise to this theory. I was fascinated by the idea of their existence in the creation myth, the Neo myth, who first inhabited the world were insect-like creatures. I came to imagine that those insect-like creatures could be humans living in symbiosis with the vocal cord parasite. But I had not the faintest idea of how I could resurrect them. That is when Scarface came to me. What he offered me was not just assistance with my metallic archaea research. He told me the vocal cord parasites really existed. And not only did they exist, they had already been brought back to life in the modern age. An ancient human cadaver, host to the parasites of the time. Cypher excavated such a cadaver from a permafrost region and isolated the DNA coding of the vocal cord parasites. Naturally, they were long dead and could not be brought back. But there was an alternate vessel they could use. A relative species of the Pentastamida discovered in China. It had adapted to live in the nasal cavity of animal hosts. But its genetic sequence showed signs of common ancestry with the vocal cord parasites. Ontogenesis, the path of an organism to maturity, is like a roadmap of the phylogenetic evolution of the entire strain. Cypher used this to effect a reverse evolution of the modern parasite and resurrect the vocal cord parasite. They interposed a developmental mechanism to the ontogenetic stage analogous to when the relative species first appeared. The point at which it split from the vocal cord parasites, forcing its evolution down the other path, the vocal cord parasite path. The larvae is produced by the vocal cord parasites, reborn. I do not detail how Cypher accomplished this, but clearly they have access to higher level genetic technologies. Scarface said it was the work of a genius woman scientist, and that the relative species in question was first discovered by group once called the philosophers. I was tasked with modifying the resurrected parasite. The rise of the vocal cord. I learned of the vocal cord. It was but clearly, they have access to higher level genetic technologies. Scarface said it was the work of a genius woman scientist, and that the relative species in question was first discovered by a group once called the philosophers. I was tasked with modifying the resurrected parasites. He charged me with two demands. First, to add lethality to these organisms that had once lived in peace with man, by unleashing the larvae's latent desire to consume nutrients from the host's lung tissue, making them eat and eat until the lungs were destroyed. Second, to have both male and female inhabit the same host, and copulate then and there, only when exposed to specific pronunciations, continuously.
Creo que estás tirando mucho a la ingeniería
What
genética.
he would do to the Diné if I failed. I had no choice. Originally, the ultimate objective of the ethnic cleansing parasite project was the identification of not only languages, but of actual cultures. Language is deeply connected to ethnicity, but many languages are employed by multiple ethnic groups, and confrontation between those ethnic groups is by no means rare. If the cleanser parasites were to be a deterrent against ethnic conflict, they had to distinguish between groups using means other than pure language. The original plan called for this to be achieved.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Each ethnic group has different lifestyle customs and eating habits. For instance, parasites living in shallow water and taken in through the skin could be used to target rice farming groups, or parasites using cows as their intermediate host would be ineffective against cultures that abstain from eating beef. But that is a lofty goal indeed. The current parasites mainly rely on droplet transmission. It would take extensive time to alter the transmission route.
You gotta extract him.
The ethnic cleansers project had been shut down. It was Skullface who put it back into operation. But despite that, he told me to forget about the transmission route and just focus on language identification. I do not know why. I understand that the Chinese philosophers who discovered the relative species of parasite originally planned to develop a phonogrammic Alexia parasite.
Okay.
The left temporal parietal region is home to the part of the brain that identifies the phonetic symbols of the English language. They wished to create a strain that would parasitize that region and suppress its literacy functions. The brain area responsible for identifying the logographs of Chinese, meanwhile, is in the left middle frontal gyrus, meaning that even if native speakers of Chinese were infected with the parasite, the literacy would be unaffected. Old and new, east and west, there is no limit to the delusions of those in power. But this delusion threatens to become a reality. I have to do something to stop this. There must be something I can do.
Ok, creo que también todas las cintas van a quitar eso. Sí. No puedo estar hablando mucho, pero no hay que mucho más decir. ¿Querés que te diga? Quiero no seguir esto si se lo puedo dar a Paz. Bueno, terminamos de escuchar todas las cintas. Yay.
Extraction
Ah,
arrived
tenemos
on
que
the
meter.
base.
¿Cuánto tiempo tarda en fabricarse esta cosa?
Please specify project.
2 horas. Dios. Sí, no hay que hacer que lo de los niños fuera más fácil. Bueno, ¿qué se va a hacer? un helicóptero aquí cerca.
Extraction arrived at. Please select a landing zone.
¿Con cuántos metros? No sé, no importa. Voy a abortar y ya está. Vamos a volver al cielo. Y ya está.
Side ops list updated.
Site strips list update. Bueno, ya casi llegamos al 47% y hay línea fugitiva. ¿Qué más tenemos? Plano, soldado, prisionero, ibis, soldado, infantería, minas, vehículo blindado.
Clouds
Ok.
approaching.
Ok. Falta entonces una más de los niños, hipotéticamente. Capaz que no.
Please select a
Cargo el
landing
código.
zone.
Estaba desarrollando un coso, ¿no?
Mission not accepted.
Todavía no lo terminé.
Clouds approaching. Please specify a project.
Sí. Yo creo que me da para desplegarme en un coso.
Please select a heading to Afghanistan.
Hacer un negro. Vehículo. Compañero, está bien. Ok, creo que es suficiente. De noche.
Deploying.
Si contra más fácil. Oscar ahí.
Caution. Sandstorm approaching.
Tengo que tener cuidado con la cosa, con la pegarme. Anti coso ahí. Estamos en alerta. Ok, está raro. No va nadie. Viene una tormenta en área porque es bueno.
Be careful down there, boss. According to the intel team, the escaped kids should be around here. Locate and secure them.
Raro, no hay nada. Ese diamante sigue ahí.
Analysis complete.
You can disrupt communications between enemy outposts by destroying comms equipment. That'll prevent one post from sending reinforcements to another.
Los deambulantes tienden a ser buenos, pero yo sé que no.
Analysis complete.
Son fantásticos, pero
Analysis complete.
hay uno que es bueno. Que no lo quiere hacer, pero mostrarnos en esto. No, pues que no. Voy a aprovechar ahora que es una weakness ahí. Y bueno, esto no.
You gotta extract him.
No, no es.
Analysis complete. Analysis complete.
Eso no se puede hacer. Ok, está.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
complete. Analysis complete.
Creo que tendrá que funcionar.
You gonna extract him? Boss, I've updated the mission list. We received a new job offer. The details are on your iDroid.
Me parece raro. Bueno, a mí que me puede. Hay un diamante por acá. Necesito un coso. Pues ya me de cosas que hay. Right. No, un arma, dije, no, que nada. Nice. Oh. ¿Se ve algún otro lugar interesante que pueda ir? No me voy directo.
Please select a delivery point.
No. Hay una misión. Acá. Vamos a revisar la lista. Gano de sensor. Extracción de prisionero. Soldados de ambulantes. Esto me interesa. Después tenemos vehículo blindado. Y tal. Vamos a conseguir la de los soldados. Hacer la de los soldados de ambulantes. Esta es, que era extracción de prisionero 2. Y alcohol supply outpost.
Please select a delivery point.
Así después. Esto sirve para Quay. Para Quay no, para más. Entonces para llamar base. Está.
The map has been updated. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
otra cinta, no.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Creo que debe para hacer la menos. Segundito. Qué tío huetejada.
Never believed you were dead. Not for a minute.
One of the guys out on a mission at the time. He's fallen a long way from the glory days. But will he come back to us?
Muchas veces que que son tan dependientes de mí que, o sea, se vuelven locos si no estoy.
Arrived at Mother Base.
Ok, vamos a salir. Y hacer esa misión que para mí que es una cosa antigua. O sea, son las consecuencias.
Side ops list updated. Mission list updated. Please select a mission.
The CFA are gearing up for a large-scale attack against Angola's MPLA government. They're assembling an armored column to the north of Nova Braga Airport and will be ready to move soon. We've been contracted by the MPLA to put a stop to them. But the civil war will keep burning on, whether we accept this job or not. Another East-West proxy war with the communist MPLA on one side and the capitalist-funded CFA on the other. An endless seesaw of blood and violence played out in the hands of the superpowers. I had my doubts at first, but I think we should take this job. Skullface is gone, but Cypher still remains. Competition with rival PFs will only get more intense. For us to survive, we need to expand our organization and get strong enough that no one can threaten us. So our only option is to fight and grow, and fight and grow.
Mission accepted. Mission not accepted. Mission heading to Central Africa.
Está complicado. Capaz que Quiet vendríamos bien. Que puedo usar las granadas. Capaz que me llevo de lanzar granadas por si acaso. A ver el costo, ¿no? ¿Qué se hace? Voy a subirme el nivel del justo. Yo creo que estamos bien, ¿no? No sé, no se me ocurre mucho más que pueda llevar. Acá, sí, creo que estoy bien así. Bajé, puedo llevar unas minas de estas.
Deploying.
De repente que va a ser una misión molesta. Checkpoint es que en la misión 45 es la más complicada. Habrá que ver por nosotros mismos. Nos quedan como cuántas, 10 misiones capaz. No sé, quedaron sin ideas para el nombre del título.
The CFA are assembling an armored column to the north of Nova Braga Airport. Your job is to wipe them out. Listen and tape for the contract details. Just be aware that the column's commander served with 5 Commando, and later made a name for himself in South Africa's 32 Battalion. He's a hardened veteran, so don't take him lightly. Boss, I have a report from the intel team. The targets are now on the move. I've sent their predicted route to your iDroid. Check your map.
Ok. Tengo una idea de cómo hacer esto.
Be careful down there, boss.
Mandar a Quiet. Que vaya
Please
al
select a
aeropuerto.
deployment point.
Y yo voy a ir. Voy a parar más cerca, creo.
Buddy has infiltrated our map has been updated.
Boss, we have new targets. Check your iDroid for the details.
The map has been updated.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Clouds. Extraction arrived at Mother Base. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
haciendo tan bien.
Snake,
Pero
talk
vamos
to
a hacer
me.
como
Snake.
la misión que tengo que empezar desde el principio.
The CFA are assembling an armored column to the north of Nova Braga Airport. Your job is to wipe them out.
Enemy presence detected. Map has been updated.
Nice work, boss. Targets are almost history. Just one target left.
¿Dónde está?
He's coming too. Roger that.
Marker placed.
Helicóptero.
That's an enemy gunship. Don't try to take down a gunship from the front. You won't win in a head-to-head shootout. Try to get behind it and take it down with missiles.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Fire! Fire! Fire!
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Tan cerca.
Boss, what happened? Boss!
Oiga, equiparon eso.
CFA are assembling an armored column to the north of Nova Braga Airport. Your job is to wipe them out.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Fire! Fire!
Just one target left.
Fire! Fire!
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Fire!
Snake?
Snake.
The CFA are assembling an armored column to the north of Nova Braga Airport. Your job is to wipe them out.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated. Enemy presence detected.
Just one target left.
Has been updated. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Eliminate the target. How you do it is your call.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated. The map has been updated. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Snake, are you okay? Snake!
Estoy bien. ¿Sabes qué? Voy a pedir un helicóptero. Cosa.
CFA are assembling an armored column to the north of Nova Braga Airport. Your job is to wipe them out.
Please select
Creo que
a
mi
drop
killer ahí
point.
es suficiente.
Supplies requested. Enemy presence detected.
Just one target left.
Complete. Analysis complete.
cosa es complicado eso. Si no tengo un domicilio, voy a ir a sacar un R.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
Amazing. Mission complete. That right there is why you're the best, boss. The one and only.
Ok, supongo.
Boss, as we suspected, the mastermind behind the kid's escape was Eli. It's hard to believe, but apparently he'd been plotting an armed uprising against us. He could be hiding something else, too. Ocelot's gonna press him for answers. Get back here as quick as you can.
Era esperar. Me imagino que algo iba a pasar en esta cosa. Eli 101.
Where is he? I told you. Father's not here.
They're back.
Yes, they're back. But don't get any bright ideas. The quarters are under full surveillance. Weapons privileges have been suspended. No more on
Privilegios.
weapons. Do you really think it would be that easy, Commander? You'll get your boys back. Yeah, we can see the boss too.
First, I need to know what you sent them to do
They wanted
to their homelands.
They wanted to go home. That's all.
So they were just homesick then.
No
Not
creo.
quite. Military warlords, PFs, the armies that murdered their families. Cousins, brothers, parents. They all had sons to kill.
Ande, no puede.
I told them, last chance to face the world with no regrets.
Last chance.
You better be ready for your drag back here. Ready to face the world as enemies.
Ahora sí.
Goodbye, Father. I don't need you anymore.
Was Ralph really an accident? Or did Eli just rig it to stir up the boys? Either way, he had to have been planning for this all along.
Es un capo.
Bidding farewell to the world.
Solid, liquid, psycho, solid, streaming, prey. Ah, mira, praying mantis.
Boss, we're looking for the kids in Sahelanthropus, but there's still no sign of them. We don't know if the chopper pilot is alive either. What have we gone and put in the hands of those kids? We don't know how bad this is until we find them. Also, regarding our concerns about Eli, I finished looking into whether or not he's a product of that project. I have an answer. I put it on tape. Give it a listen.
Ok, voy a escuchar eso. Ah, mira, retos.
Boss, I've updated the mission list. We've received some new job offers. The details are on your iDroid.
Ay, Dios. Voy a escuchar eso y me despido.
Skullface, real name unknown. Born in Hungary, more specifically northern Transylvania, after it reverted to Hungary from Romania. While he was young, the country allied with Germany as part of the Axis powers, but later during the war, it came under Soviet occupation. The Hungarians struggled for independence, but the Soviets came down hard. Just like he said, time and again, the country was ruled by a foreign tongue. When he was a young boy, he lost his native language, the bedrock for any developing child. His country, his family, his face, his identity, everything was stolen from him. All he had left was his skull. Skullface first tried his hand at espionage during all the chaos from the war. Agents, military officials, and soldiers who operated out of Hungary during the war vanished over the course of several months. This Soviet spy hunt rocked the counter-intel world. Mysterious fatal illnesses, accidental deaths, drownings, people having strokes behind closed doors. Just like Stalin, no one knew who was behind it. But all you could do was look for who had the motive. They were all taken out by a man without a face. And now we've got an idea on how he did it too. He got revenge for his people, but he wasn't finished. Skullface defected to the West, eventually ended up with the SAS. That's where he met Zero. It's possible he began planning this whole thing back then. It's hard to say. In any case, Zero made him his XO. He always did have a thing for oddballs. But this one was set to lead a unit no one else would know about. When Zero created Fox, he also formed XOF as a support team. An unconventional special forces unit designed to support Fox, make it stronger, with Skullface given the orders. Zero never even told the boss about it, nor the CIA, naturally. If Fox was Zero's silver bullet, XOF was the recoil when he pulled the trigger. Just like Newton's third law. While you were with Fox, Skullface was operating behind the scenes. Sometimes as your backup, sometimes as a mole or a scout, sometimes as your cleanup crew. Fox's tale. making sure the mission succeeded and that you survived. We only have his word to go on. Skullface's goal was revenge against those who used language to subjugate people. Those corrupting a people's identity by forcing a new tongue on. Those using the power of language to control information. Naturally, that set his sights on Zero. To Zero, English was simply the most convenient code. But to Skullface, English was a parasite. And by eradicating it, he'd stop the world from being eaten away. If that didn't work, he was ready to see the world scorched by nuclear fire. To save language, culture, and race from annihilation, he was willing to overstep the hands of the Doomsday Clock. That is, of course, if you believe anything he had to say.
Falta una cinta esencial esta. No entiendo. ¿Cuál me falta? Ah, acá. La bomba blanca.
Boss, we've got the results of Eli's genetic tests. We can finally put this worry behind us.
We used the PCR technique and conducted DNA fingerprinting of the copied DNA sequences. Neither is mainstream science yet, but the concepts and procedures are sound. Both tests say there is 0% chance that the two of you are blood relatives, meaning the results are negative. He's not your son, nor is he your clone. He's just another person.
It was 12 years ago that Zero made plans to clone you. Eli's age and appearance certainly are a good fit. I admit the first time I saw him, I did a double take. But it looks like we were worried for nothing. Eli isn't your clone. Though you might still have one somewhere out there.
But if Eli isn't the boss's clone, why does he seem so obsessed with him? Not to mention having one hell of an attitude for his age.
I don't know. Learning the truth about himself, cursing the fact he's a clone, bearing a grudge against selfish adults, and coming to hate who he was cloned from. Big boss. If that were really the case, I could understand it. I might even feel a bit sorry for him.
Sí.
But
Pero
no
lo
clone
manipulaste
could
todo
have a
así.
totally different DNA fingerprint. And the test left no room for error. You yourself were there when we drew Eli's blood sample.
Come to think of it, when we went to OKB-0, he'd snuck onto a chopper and was there.
Yeah.
He was acting strange even then. Or actually from a little before that time.
That was exactly when we began these tests.
Maybe he suspected something when we drew the sample, not knowing what we were doing to him, and becoming mistrustful of us.
Hard to say. Eli's had an attitude problem from day one.
So what is he then?
Well, if he's gonna tell us that himself, we'll need to get him to open up more first. You know, when you brought back all the child soldiers who escaped, Eli knew they'd returned. Needless to say, nobody said a word to him.
I guess they got a message to him somehow.
Eli wasn't put in a corner in timeout.
Mantis.
He was locked up in that room, completely cut off from the outside world.
Then how'd he find out?
There's only one possibility I can think of. The Soviet Union has been researching military applications for psi phenomena.
Psi?
Things like psychokinesis and ESP, extrasensory perception.
You mean moving objects without touching them? Knowing what card somebody's holding up? Psychic powers? Come on. I thought that was just another bunch of disinformation aimed at the West.
Just bear with me a second. One type of ESP is telepathy. It's the ability to know another person's thoughts through nonverbal means.
You're saying Eli read our minds?
It's the only idea that doesn't involve someone getting to him.
Ocelot.
Look, psi research isn't some hocus pocus. It's all evidence-based, scientific.
There's gotta be another explanation. Maybe one of the kids stuck a note to your back.
I hope that's the case. But I am convinced that they have, or Eli has, a connection to some force we have yet to identify. You better watch yourself, boss.
How am I supposed to do that?
If he is depending on something for help, well, that's his Achilles heel. If you can figure out what that something is, you might be able to use it against him.
I'll keep that in mind.
Oh, and the medical team is looking after the kids left on Mother Base. For the moment, they don't seem too panicked. But boss, get this. Eli got those kids to plot their armed uprising as a diversion. Also, he could steal Sahelanthropus and escape.
Me suena, pero no me
That rat got
acuerdo
us good. Set us up, knocked us down. And then there's that mystery kid who was with Eli. Those two working together, I'd say things won't be over for a long time yet.
Nunca lo van a estar.
Rise and shine, old-timer. It is complete. I had our best and brightest working overtime, fine-tuning the greatest burger the world has ever known. I call it the chemical burger.
What on earth is that color?
Now, don't judge a burger by its color. Go on, try it.
I am not very hungry.
What? Oh, I get it. Sure, it's loaded with additives, but each one's been approved by the WHO for human consumption. Come on, one little bite's not gonna kill you.
Are you sure of that? Fine.
Well, what do you think?
It's perfect.
Right.
This takes me back to the taste of my youth. The neon signs on the mother road. Oh, I can see them now.
So, what do you think of our science now? And it doesn't just taste great. You won't believe how cheap it is to make. And because it's pumped up with preservatives, it won't spoil easily in regions lacking refrigerated storage or transportation infrastructure. This bad boy could even solve Africa's hunger problem.
Excuse me.
People will no longer fight over food or find reason to hate one another. Mankind will come together, reunited between these fluffy buns. Forget Pax Americana. Say hello to Pax Hamburgana.
Pax Hamburgana.
Skullface thought that destruction was the way to free the peoples of the world from American imperialism. But this is different. Tackling something head-on just makes for more conflict. Only by uniting the world can its various inhabitants truly become free. Having lived as an American parasite as long as I have, I know what I'm talking about. The chemical burger is poised to be the greatest liberating force the world has ever known.
An ethnic liberator. Burger.
Now all I need is a better brand image, starting with a name. Gotta run, old-timer. I'll catch you later.